Hello and welcome to Season 3 of Solution Systems Podcast. I'm Michael Introvertolo for Solution Systems, which is a gold certified ERP partner and a certified cloud partner based out of the Chicagoland area. The first thing I'd like to start talking to you about is that we have some exciting new changes that have happened with the podcast. We've completely revamped the podcast to make it more entertaining and informative for you, the listener. Our new podcast name is A Shot of Business Central with a Beer, and just as the title alludes to, we'll be discussing Business Central topics and craft beers while enjoying a cold one ourselves. So this podcast not only has a new name, but it has a new format and a new co-host as well. And without further ado, I present to you the man who actually brought the beer, Mr. Ken Sebahar. So Ken, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself and what it is you brought for us today.
All right. Thank you, Michael. I am super excited to be here and loving being part of this. Thank you for including me and taking some of my suggestions. So with this new format, what we're going to be doing is each podcast, we're going to focus on one specific craft brew.
Great.
We're going to figure out, we're going to talk a little bit about the brewer, where it's made, and a little bit some fun facts about the beer maybe. And then, of course, we're going to have to share our thoughts on the beer with you as we go through this. So we're going to talk about beer. We're also going to talk about shots, except, right, not shots.
Not liquid shots.
Like you're thinking. But shots of Business Central. So some news, updates, feature spotlights, and also some app spotlights where we're gonna focus on some apps that are available on Appsource and talk about those a little bit. So I'm taking a drink right now here, and let's do a little quick toast
All
here
right.
to our first A Shot of Business Central with a Beer podcast.
That's right, first one.
And we're gonna get it rolling here.
So right off the bat, it's a very good beer. What is it? Three Floyds.
Yeah. So what we're drinking is a beer called Zombie Dust.
Oh.
So Zombie Dust is probably the most well-known of beers that are made by a brewery called Floyds Brewing, which is based in Munster, Indiana. So it's kind of a local to us here in the Chicago area. They're just right across the Indiana border off of just south of I-80, Interstate 80.
Not too bad.
No. So they're right there. They have a tasting room. It's founded by, two brothers and their dad back in the late 1990s, 1996, I think. And
Relatively new.
yeah, so they've been in 2000 they moved to a new facility in Munster, Indiana, and I think their beers are available throughout. I'm not sure regionally or
Probably, yeah.
or nationally. I do know that in 2018, Floyds, it says here, cracked the top 50 list of brewing companies by sales volume.
Wow.
So they're number 49 overall brewery sales.
Very nice.
So I'm guessing they must be a national brand. But this one here, Zombie Dust, it's always hard. It's always been hard to get.
Really?
So I think they
In the Chicagoland area, you mean, or?
I think everywhere. I think it's available year round if you go to their brewery in Indiana. But trying to find it in a store has historically been very difficult, just because of the demand.
So why did you pick this beer that's localized in Indiana? Are you a Notre Dame fan?
Well, no. As this is our first segment, I wanted to start with the best.
Oh.
So for me, this is the gold standard.
This is your gold standard,
This is it, yeah.
It's very good
I'm
beer.
a little biased. I grew up not far from Munster, Indiana.
Oh.
So I'm able to frequent their brewery quite a bit. In my opinion, this is one of the original beers that started the whole craft
beer
brewery
revolution type
scene,
thing.
and specifically pale ales, American pale ales, IPAs, or India pale ales.
Yeah.
It's officially an American pale ale, or APA. But it's that fruity, super hoppy, little bit sweet beer. It's made with like Citra hops.
Yeah, definitely get the super hoppy part.
6.2% alcohol, so it's stronger than like a Miller
Miller Lite
or Bud product.
Yeah.
But it's not. You don't taste that alcohol, right?
No.
That alcohol, like some of those 10 or 12% beers.
Yeah. It really, you don't really enjoy it as much.
You don't taste it. So I'm on a. So I'll admit that in my beer rating, if on our scale of 0 to 100 in rating a beer, for me, Zombie Dust, I'm going to put that right at the top.
Really?
At 100, yeah.
Okay.
So now we know. I'm setting the bar.
We got to find something better than going forward for
right away. Right. At least to match it, maybe exceed it. Maybe you know what? Maybe I'm going to go 98.
Just leave a little bit of room.
I'm going to go 98. I want to give myself a little bit of leeway in the future. If you happen to come across something that's even a little bit better, I want to leave some room for there. So how about yourself?
For me, I'm going to put this at about, I'd give it a solid 94. It's a really good beer. I tend to prefer more Mexican beers, so that's why those are going to be more my top tier beers. But just because of that,
like a lager, pilsner.
Yeah, exactly.
Like a Corona or
Corona, Modelo,
Pacifico. You ever had a Pacifico?
It's all right. Pacifico's not bad. Tecate is not too bad.
Yeah, there you go.
But I'm going to put it at a good solid 94. It's really good beer, hoppy. I wouldn't say I would crack it open on a hot summer day, though.
Yeah, heavy.
Would you? Yeah, it's a little bit more heavy than...
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
I agree.
A hot summer day after I've been doing something outside to...
if you want
relaxing.
something lighter,
exactly,
more crisp.
Yeah, right.
No, I agree. I see that. Yeah, Corona Light kind of comes to mind for me.
Yeah.
If I'm sitting on a super hot day,
yeah,
really thirsty.
Right.
Yeah, you're
Just
not going to drink.
lighter.
You're probably not going to drink a dozen of these.
No, this is more sit back and relax.
Yeah.
If you got a nice cigar or something.
Enjoy the flavor.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, so that's our focused beer. We'll probably come back through as we go throughout the rest of this podcast and talk about it a little bit more and ask some more questions of each other and
we'll see how
liking it.
We'll see how it gets as it warms up.
Yeah, so I think that's about it here. For our next segment, we're going to be following up this beer with a shot of Business Central.
Shot of Business Central. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about Business Central. It's been a while since our last podcast. There's been many things that have happened. A lot of new features, a lot of developmental new features for that as well. So, Ken, what do you got over there? You got anything to talk about for...
Yeah, I think, along with what you're saying, I think we should start with a timeline recap here. Mm-hmm. So, what's been going on? Let's go back to last fall. So, last fall, around October, Microsoft came out with this new product, Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central.
Long name.
And... really what that was is it's a new product that's based on a previous solution, right? Microsoft Dynamics NAV.
Right.
And what Microsoft did was obviously kind of gave it a fresh name, Dynamics 365 Business Central, but also delivered it kind of as two separate solutions, two different options, two different deployment solutions. So you have... The big major news was that there's a Microsoft hosted version, right? That's available. Completely run on Microsoft's cloud. All you pay is a monthly subscription fee per user. And Microsoft deals with the infrastructure. They deal with the upgrading and keeping you current on the releases.
Wow.
So that's really the big announcement. But they also took NAV, which it was previously known, rebranded it as Dynamics 365 Business Central, and called that the on-premise version. So for those who are running NAV or have always or otherwise love NAV and want to use it or are considering using it, it is still available. Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central on-premise.
Now, does it have a lot of the same functionality? Does it have a lot of the same look?
It has almost the full functionality between both products.
Very nice.
There are going to be certain advantages if you're running on the Microsoft Cloud version, where some of the integrations with, if you're running Office 365, or some of the Cortana artificial intelligence or Power BI, those integrations are simpler to set up. They're like automatically enabled, if you will, because you're authenticating through Office 365. So there are going to be some advantages to that. But if for whatever reason you still wanted an on-premise solution or just full control over the administration of the SQL Server database or whatever, you can still run the traditional kind of quote on-premise version, even if you're running that on an Azure server. It's a private cloud. You can effectively create your own private cloud, and now you have full administrative control over everything.
Very nice. So is the private cloud quicker than the multi-tenant cloud?
In terms of speed, the performance, here's what I would say is the performance so far, we've had no negative feedback on the performance of the Microsoft Cloud hosted version. But having your own private cloud or on-premise server does give you yourself directly more control over adding horsepower. So if it is slow, you add as much RAM or processors as you want, right? Whereas on a Microsoft Cloud's hosted solution, right, Microsoft is responsible for making sure your performance is good.
So companies that are traditionally busier in a certain season of the year can ramp up power
on their own cloud, on their own private
and
cloud,
then decrease it when they're not as busy.
Correct,
which could save them a little bit of money.
Yeah, absolutely. We have customers that do that. So and what it is you basically kind of temporarily shut down and just change your Azure resource allocation, and then you restart your Business Central services, and now you have doubled or tripled or whatever it is your horsepower. And it's a pay-as-you-go model. So if you happen to have that server jacked up for like 2 days and 4 hours, you pay for that extra capacity for 2 days and 4 hours.
Oh, very nice.
Right.
Very nice. And just so the listeners know, Ken is obviously a Business Central nav expert, and it's kind of my job to try and stump him during the podcast.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a question here. Let's see how it goes. Business Central full cloud, multi-tenant, running in the cloud.
Yeah.
How far back can you retrieve information if something crashes?
Well, there in Business Central, there is no there's no automatic data deletion or data archiving. If you're using Business Central, you've got your posting transactions in there. Those posted invoices, those general ledger journal entries or receivable entries, they're there as long as you're running. So we have customers today that are running Dynamics NAV, right, the legacy probably solution for Business Central, who have literally 20 years of data that they've accumulated within their database.
So do you know, though, is it possible if somebody deletes the data in the cloud to contact Microsoft and have it restored? Or
you mean someone at your organization?
Yeah, let's say deletes a company on accident. Yeah.
The whole company?
Yeah.
You know what? That's a good question.
Off the bat.
That didn't take long.
It's over.
So one solution to that is that they have created what they call a sandbox environment. Yeah. So what the customer, so the end user has the ability to do is at any point they can log into Business Central on the cloud, and they can create a sandbox environment, which is a full, complete copy of their live production environment.
Nice. So they have all the data backed up if they need it
Yeah,
right then and there.
you can use it obviously as backups, or you could use it as as a testing environment or training environment, right? So there's a lot of different ways that you can use that.
Gotta have it.
There are also tools that you can use if data is a concern, where you can a tool called Power Query.
Yeah.
Where you can directly pull data out of Business Central into tables or other types of data
Just
sets.
have it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Very good. Yeah. Didn't take you long.
I just had experience that I'll tell you later. That's
Just
why.
stump me, yeah. So going back, so that was October, right? So since then, Microsoft on a regular basis, they apply updates, fixes, and things like that to the cloud environment.
Yeah.
And then they came out with a spring release. So this was April 2019, just last month. They came out with this April release. And this April release is for both the Microsoft Cloud hosted and the on-premise version.
Oh, which is different usually than the NAV update release. It was
Right.
generally once a year, right?
It previously was like an
Monthly
annual
rollout,
release. It
yeah.
was NAV 2015, 2016,
Right,
2017. Now it's more a twice a year is the plan. So we'll expect a fall and a spring release
Nice.
coming out. And there's a document that's published, and it lists all of the features that were released. I don't want to spoil my next segment here.
We'll put in the show notes though, so everybody can download it and take a look at it.
But there's a lot of new features that came out. So where we're at right now, so if you're running Business Central in the cloud, you may say, well, hey, it's May, I don't see my updates. So during the month of April, Microsoft has been rolling out that spring release updates to all the different Business Central environments that it's hosting.
Right.
And it does that kind of piece by piece. So we call them clusters of environments. So you may already have your Business Central environment updated. You may not.
So what you want to do is, if you're running in the cloud, go to the global search, type in system information, and if you see an update that starts with 14 point something, you're updated. If you're at 13.5 something, you have not been updated yet.
Right. Yep. So, and also you do have the ability, which is really cool. So let's say you haven't been updated yet, but you know there's this release out there. If you go in, your partner, so something that we can do on behalf of a customer, is we have the ability to build a new sandbox for our customers who are running Business Central. And we can actually specify that sandbox uses the new version called the preview version, right?
So people can test out things before.
Right. So you're running your live version, and hey, there's this cool new spring 2019 update that's out there. This allows you to go in and actually build the sandbox with your data and your extensions and apps in there, and actually test it and see how it works and make sure everything's going to work before you schedule and confirm your live update.
Now, I think, though, regardless, I think everybody has to be updated no matter what eventually, right?
Eventually.
I think you can't hold off and say, I don't want that update and not have it.
I think so.
It might be a 6-month period or something.
Yeah, now because you can write extensions. You can write your own individual apps, if you will, for Business Central for your specific environment. Something unique that like your business does. We needed to add these fields here. So Microsoft will run through. They'll test, upgrade all the environments, and then it is possible that there's some sort of conflict. So that update could fail.
Right.
But you're right. There is a point where
you have to be on.
They will push you eventually. Now we're still really new, right? This is the first major updates that's come out.
Yeah.
It's early May right now. There are some environments that still haven't been updated. Microsoft is working on those. We're working on a couple with them. So we expect those issues are going to be resolved shortly.
Yeah.
And then we're going to share with you on this podcast our experiences with updates and keep you up to date on, what's going on. And
maybe give you some tips if we discover anything to make it easier for you.
Yeah, hey, by the way, don't do this,
right?
Or try to stay away from this. So, so that's kind of where we're at. It's being deployed right now. There are a ton of new features that are in there. Some pretty cool stuff. We'll get to that in a couple minutes here. But the other kind of two things I wanted to just touch on today was, with Business Central, it is a cloud-hosted solution, and Microsoft is regularly applying updates on a regular basis.
Yeah.
But that does not mean that you can't tailor it for your business. But instead of going in and updating the source code, you can't do that, right? Because if you're changing the source code, how could Microsoft then go update it?
Yeah.
But you can extend the functionality. So they call these extensions, or that's our term for like an app. And what that means is that we can take a piece of standard functionality within Business Central and we can add things to it. So we could add fields to the customer table. We could then add business logic that does something with those fields. Or we add a report. Right?
And we can virtually add anything, right? There's really no limit to what can be done.
You need a whole kind of module built. We could build a whole module within the Business Central environment. And the way that we do that is through standard Microsoft development tools. And this is one of the coolest new things is that the new they call it the modern development environment. Mm-hmm. You do this using Visual Studio Code, which is a Microsoft development tool.
Yeah.
I think it's, don't quote me, like the number one used developer tool in the world.
Oh.
Right? So there are literally, thousands of people all over the place that use Visual Studio Code to do their development for various different solutions. Yeah. So for us now in Business Central to be able to leverage that huge community of developers who now can go in and without needing a special license or certification,
right,
can go begin building extensions for Business Central. It's huge.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of extensions out there really soon.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one thing that we're really excited about here. We obviously are building our own extensions. We're going to be publishing extensions on Appsource.
Yeah.
We're building custom extensions for our customers as they need it. So those are things we're doing every day. But that's one of the coolest new things. And kind of the last kind of topic I wanted to touch on for our shot of Business Central today is the feedback feature in Business Central.
This is new?
So yeah, you're in Business Central, right? You've got some icons up on the top right. One of them is feedback. So if you click on feedback, you're looking for something, you don't like how something works.
Yeah.
Click on feedback, open it up, and you can directly provide your feedback to Microsoft.
So right from Business Central, you can tell them whether or not you like it or don't like it.
Correct. Or if
you want to see something different.
Yeah, hey, why can't I also do this?
Yeah. And
here's the best part. So that's kind of cool.
Because before you'd have to go to a website, right?
Yeah, and I think it would go to a website. There was a feedback.
And it got voted on, or
there was a community feedback site, and I'm going to say that for my own person, I don't want to speak for anyone else. I'm not really sure what happened to that. It kind of went out into the ether sphere.
Yeah.
Right?
It's in the cloud.
And whatever happened with that feedback? Well, here's what's different about Business Central. All that feedback is visible in there, right? And then you can see how many other people have voted on these different feature requests feedback, right?
Right from Business Central?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So you can log in and go, I do a search, and you can search inside the feedback for a certain thing. You're looking for payment terms. Mm-hmm. So you search in payment terms. You find 4 articles. And you can see that, there's one similar to what you're looking for. And like 400 people have already voted on this. Yeah. Or they like it, right?
So you know if it's popular or whatnot. And
Right.
the more popular whatever
Right.
his chances of it actually showing up in Business
and
Central.
you can also, so yeah, what are the big things people are asking for? You can sort that list based on the number of feedback likes.
Oh, really? So you can see what the most popular thing is that somebody
Right.
wants.
So, and then what that means is you can now see what are the features that are most likely to be included in the next release.
Yeah.
Because Microsoft is using that.
Yeah.
They're looking at it. And in the spring release, there have already been features that were sitting out there in the feedback that now they're listening.
Which is great. I mean, it's the customer's way of getting their voice heard and getting the features that they want. Microsoft is actually listening, which not a lot of big companies do.
No. And it's great to see that community feedback.
Yeah.
You see that, and just to know that you're not the only one struggling with this, or that others would like it, or maybe on the other hand, on the opposite, right? You're asking for this. Go log in and check up on it.
Yeah.
Wait, no one else has.
Yeah.
No one else likes that. No one else has feedback on that. Okay.
You might be a little crazy with what you want.
Maybe it's just you.
Right.
Right. So that's pretty cool. I check in on that periodically and see what some of the most, or kind of the most popular ones are.
Yeah.
Because it tells me what are the things that are likely to maybe show up in the next release.
I think, what is it, 2 months before the actual next release, which will be in October. So 2 months before that, Microsoft will release their release notes, which will detail what's coming in the October release. Right. So always 2 months beforehand.
Yep. So that is it for my shot of Business Central. I did my shot.
Take a swing of
guess
craft
what?
beer then.
I finished my zombie dust.
Oh, nice.
And I'm ready for another one.
Ready for number 2.
So,
all right, well, start number 2 as we start the next section.
All right.
All right, so the next feature section that we want to talk about is, well, this is actually our featured spotlight section, is directions. There was actually a recent directions conference in Las Vegas. I had a lot of attendees, a lot of good information. And at Solution Systems, we had a couple people attend, and they brought back some interesting tidbits.
Yeah. So
the first one I know of is that the attendee count was over 905 plus, which I believe is their highest ever for directions.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's pretty. That's a lot.
Yeah, I'm gonna crack myself another 3 Floyds.
We are moving on to number 2. Yeah.
So So you've been to a Directions.
I have.
Right.
Yep.
Where was that held?
Arizona.
Arizona.
Yeah.
Was that
right outside of Phoenix? Was
downtown, or was it at the Biltmore?
No, it was at Cowboy or something Saloon. It wasn't in downtown, because when we went for the actual get together, we had to be bussed into Phoenix downtown. So it was in the desert.
The Biltmore Resort?
No. I don't think it was the Biltmore. No.
Oh, okay.
That was something Saloon. Nice place though. It was actually called Saloon. Yeah.
Wow.
Something Saloon.
I must have missed that one. I was at the first Direction partner. So Directions, I don't know if everyone knows this. So back in 2000, I'm going to guess 2004. There was really no get together for Microsoft Dynamics NAV partners to get together and collaborate and talk
stories,
and share, right?
Tips.
And get together with ISV and app vendors and things like that. So a group came up with this conference. The very first one was in Stone Mountain, Georgia, just outside of Atlanta. Yeah, and so I attended that one. And I was thinking it was 04, so there have been probably about 15 Directions conferences, 16, whatever it is. I've been to about a dozen of them.
Wow.
So I've missed a few.
The first one, how many people would you say attended?
Gosh, it was more. It was like a few hundred.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, more than I would have expected.
Yeah, it was a couple hundred people.
Nice.
Probably there. And then most of them, over the years, it's funny, there's probably 400 to 600, probably around 500 people, 600 people. but it's great. It's a great community.
Mm-hmm.
You see the same people.
Each time you go, yeah.
Every time you go.
You even see the same sort of the same people in each session that you go to.
Right.
A lot of the same people.
Right,
Yeah.
and it really creates a good community, and I think that the Dynamics NAV community and now Business Central community is great.
Yeah.
So this year, I didn't go. So we had a couple few other individuals here attend. So we're just sharing some of the notes that they give, right? Some of these attendee counts. I'm a little bummed we didn't get to go. It was at the
Las Vegas. You like?
Yeah, the Red Rock Casino and Resort in Vegas. So
You could try out the one of the people who went for us is big on mechanical roulette.
Oh yeah. We got to find out. It was just this week. I don't know. Did he win?
And I think he lost a little bit. Him and Mark, Bob
Yeah.
and Mark both I think lost a little bit.
Oh boy.
But they're still holding true to their philosophy that.
Yeah. So you mentioned like 900 attendees, and some of the figures that they shared with at the conference is there are currently over 3 million Dynamics users.
Wow.
Licensed users out there. So it's a huge,
crazy when you think about it. Yeah.
right? Imagine that
Huge
all
number.
these people show up to work every day and they log in and they're using Microsoft Dynamics products, right? So it's huge. Over 200,000 businesses running this.
Yep.
Now, in terms of the Business Central solution, with the April 2019 spring release that they just came out with, over 350 new features.
Wow.
Right?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, 350 new features on an ERP system.
In just 6
Wow.
months. They just
Yeah,
released
just 6
it in
months, yeah.
October. So they're
Feedback. They're actually listening to the feedback.
They're reinvesting that money.
Yes.
That money that a user spends is getting reinvested on a regular basis back into the product.
Yeah. So they believe in the product.
Yeah, I
100%.
we believe in the product.
Yes.
I think the people that have used it believe in the product. So I think the future is bright. One of my favorite new features. We're going to talk about a few features session here. I'm gonna save this one, my favorite one. Cliffhanger for later. But one of the things is there are over 300 apps for Business Central now available on Appsource.
It's crazy because a year ago there was 12, maybe
If
something
that.
like that. Yeah, if that.
Yeah.
For the longest time, there was only a few.
So this is the Business Central partner and development community who's been hard at work over the last 12 months
Yeah.
building solutions for Business Central.
Yep.
And I can only imagine that if this product continues at the trajectory it's at and continues with, I mean, we've been so successful with NAV for years that this is going to continue to be successful. There may be over 1,000 apps by the end of the year.
That's a good over-under. I completely agree with you.
Right?
Yep. I think it'd be right around 1,000. And then I think it's going to be twofold basically every year from then on then.
Yeah.
It'd be
The
amazing.
growth of the Dynamics 365 product line, over 50%.
Wow.
Over a 50% growth rate for the Dynamics product line. So that's huge. Other features, we talked about the sandbox environment, how you can copy all your data and extensions into there. You mentioned how the release notes for the October release
actually June. Actually, more than 2 months.
Right?
Yeah.
So in June, we should have a preview of what's coming up in there.
Have you heard anything though when people can actually get into the sandbox and create a sandbox and use those features?
I don't. I only know that this release it was about 30 days.
Right.
So I would assume that it will be approximately 30
Same
days
going forward.
before the release, where you can go make a sandbox with those new
Yeah.
features in there. So they're continuing to invest a lot of money in there. They've improved the efficiency. That there's rapid start data migration tools.
Yeah.
They've improved the speed over 2 times between the previous release.
Oh, that's great.
So they've gotten the feedback from the community, and they've improved the performance of that, so you can convert your data faster in there.
So going back to you're talking about they're reinvesting in the product and whatnot. I see that they're putting a lot of investments also into the what they call the Power Platform, Power BI, Power Apps, and Flow, which are all great tools to basically help extend Business Central as well.
Right. Yeah. So the whole Power Platform, Power BI, Power Apps, and Flow, these are software solutions created by Microsoft, really that are kind of generic in nature.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You can use these solutions to build your own app.
Yeah.
That does whatever you need it to do.
Yep.
It could have nothing to do with
you want.
Dynamics, right?
Yep.
And you can use Power BI as a business intelligence solution to connect to any data source.
Yep.
It is not just for Microsoft.
No, not at all.
But Microsoft they're smart enough to integrate these with Business Central.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're running Business Central Cloud, you have direct integration capabilities with Power BI and Apps and Flow. And there's a lot of workflow solutions you can build with that, business intelligence, reporting. So that's pretty cool.
And I've actually built a couple apps on Power Apps. It's very easy, very very quick to do.
Are you a developer?
No, I'm not a developer, but I had to try it out. So it's really simple. Yeah, really simple. But I think that one of the things that the biggest upside is Microsoft Flow. Once they're able to put more commands in there to let you be able to do, if I do this, then I can do that. I think people are really going to take advantage of that.
Right.
It's going to be amazing going forward.
Could you build us an app to track our craft brews ratings?
Maybe the consumption.
The ratings,
yeah,
consumption, feedback.
Definitely, we could do that.
Right? There you go. That's a good one.
Speaking of that, these zombie dusts are going down pretty smooth now. They're very good.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
I can see why they're rated high. So how long have you been drinking zombie dust for though?
Like I said, zombie dust is one of the original brews that Three Floyds made. Mm-hmm. I said I grew up around there.
Yeah.
So we were able to go to the brewery and get it locally.
Like 12, 13?
I would say back, it was when, around like when, Sam Adams.
Oh, got popular?
Was popular, right? Yeah. A craft brew,
right, Right.
So like Sam Adams, Sierra Nevada.
Yeah.
Back in the early days.
Right.
Of craft brews is when I've been drinking this for. It's always been difficult to get it. So you don't. I went to a bar in the Chicago area, and it was actually a restaurant, bar and restaurant. And I sat down with my lovely wife, Heather, and we sat down to eat, and I looked at the specials menu, and on the specials menu was zombie dust.
Oh, really?
So the waitress came over, and I go, hey, I see you have specials. You have zombie dust on the menu, huh? She goes, yeah. I said, wow, that's rare. I've not seen, restaurants. You have like a keg? She goes, yeah, we got one keg in.
Oh, wow.
I said, that's awesome. I'm going to call my friends. She goes, well, you better hurry. It'll probably be gone by the end of the night.
Wow. So it's popular. So it's got a cult following, basically.
So I look around the restaurant. I'm not exaggerating. There were at least 10 people I could see drinking a zombie dust within an eye shot of me, because they were serving them in a special glass.
So you had to get it while you can get it.
Right. So yeah. So
that's amazing.
It's been a while. Yeah.
All right. So let's see what else. Anything else that you noticed from directions that
I think there's some partner stuff that people don't care. I mean, one of the things I guess maybe from a customer standpoint they care is that they're coming up with a new certification a program for partners. So in order to be certified for Business Central, they're bringing back some certification exams. that you have to have. We're lucky, we're like, 40 employees. We've got a lot of people with a variety of skill sets. So, historically, these exams have been on things like financial management, CRM, trade, which is like distribution, manufacturing, installation, and then development, right? So
we're not too worried.
I think that it may become a differentiator between partners of who's certified. Are you certified? Are you not certified? I'm kind of on the fence about the whole thing. I think that whether or not you have how many people certified, is that really an indicator
of how good you can implement
how well you
implement?
Right. I think customer references. The number of customer references and the quality of those customer references is much more indicative.
And also how long you've been in business for.
Right.
You're not going to stay in business if.
But it's a positive sign. It means that Microsoft cares that who is helping their customers implement the software.
Right.
So from that perspective, that's good to see. So.
Not bad.
Yeah, that's about it for the recap.
Today's podcast is sponsored by our wonderful IT department. If you've got cyber criminals trying to rob your data, we've got virtual paddy wagons ready to round up those wannabe hamburgers. Contact us at info@solstice.com. So each podcast we're going to highlight a specific feature of Business Central. And today we're going to talk a little bit about the Outlook. I don't know, what are you calling it over there? The Outlook the integration,
contact insights.
Contact insights.
Yeah.
So I know Ken's got some notes on it and a few points he wants to touch on.
Yeah. So what we know, right, is how you sit at your desk most of the day, right? You use Outlook
all day long.
All day.
Right now.
You're sitting, right? You're sitting there.
Yep.
You're looking at Outlook, right?
Yep.
You're not alone. Everyone does that, right?
100% true.
Right? So one of the great new features of Business Central is that if you're using Office 365 for email, you can launch Business Central from within Outlook.
Is that so?
Yeah. So you're sitting there. You're working hard at whatever it is you do.
Yeah.
Bing! Here comes a new email. So you click when you instead of just opening the email and having to then go into the ERP solution, look up the customer, find out what's going on. You can click on a button up on your ribbon called Contact Insights.
Oh.
What it does is it looks at the email address, the sender of the email, compares that to your contacts list in Business Central, and goes, oh, I know Tom Thomas. He works for Canon Group.
Oh.
He's one of your customers. And it displays the Canon Group's customer information right within Outlook.
So what you're saying is that people can save time by not switching between applications and just stay in Outlook and ultimately become more productive and get more work done and make life a little bit easier based on this integration.
Yes. If you want to be lazy and just stay in Outlook all day long.
Yeah, there you go.
It's so hard. You got to minimize. You got to click over somewhere else. Right. You don't have to do that anymore. You're in Outlook. Click a button. Oh, there's Canon Group. And by the way, once you, it's not just a view of the data. You can drill into information
through Outlook.
In Outlook.
Oh, nice.
You never launch Business Central. You're in Outlook. The customer sends you an email and it says, "Hey Ken, when is my order for number 123 going to ship?" I can click in Outlook on there's a pane that opens on the right side. I can click on a tile that shows my open orders, open the order, and see what that expected shipment date is. right from within Outlook.
That's amazing.
I can create new orders. Customer wants to order 5 new widgets.
Right from Outlook.
I can create that order, and I can send them an email confirmation of their order without leaving Outlook.
So is this using maybe the Cortana intelligence to a point to where it recognizes what's in Outlook, or is it just basically scanning Outlook and looking for keywords and knowing that?
So there's I would kind of put it as 2 separate features. Mm-hmm. The first is the ability to launch the customer or vendor's information, right from within Outlook, within Business Central. The second thing is there is artificial intelligence or machine learning or whatever you call it, Cortana built in. So if the customer in the body of their email, it happens to say, I want 5 widgets and 10 panels, side panels, it will suggest quote or order lines for you.
Nice.
Based on the data within the body of the email.
Very nice.
Yep.
This only works with Office 365?
Yeah, you have to be running Exchange Online, so your email has to be running through Exchange Online or running Office 365 for Very email. Nice. But it's in addition to running on the app, right, on your tablet or your phone, which you can do with Business Central, a lot of people work in Outlook. Yeah. So, from a usability standpoint, the fact that you can sit in Outlook, get an email, click on a button, and have full access to that vendor or that customer or contact's information right there without having to leave Outlook is we think, a huge new feature and a differentiator.
Right. I mean, who's not going to like that? Everybody's going to like that uses Outlook and Business Central.
Maybe someone who doesn't run Outlook. Maybe.
But then they can't use
maybe
it.
They won't like. Maybe they won't like it.
They still want to go in their Hotmail.
Right. So their pop account, whatever, they can do that, right? But yeah, so it is. Obviously, right. It's part of the vision of Microsoft that you're using Office 365, you're using Business Central. Yeah. Full integration between the two,
the
almost
whole Microsoft
seamless.
One concept.
Right. We kind of think of it like Business Central is becoming it's almost like it's just a part of your Office experience.
It almost is, right? Well, exactly. Yeah, the whole Dynamics 365 family is just, it's everything that you need. The Dynamics 365, Office 365, you really don't need too much more.
Right. And that's the vision. So,
nice.
So we think this is a great feature that's included with Business Central. Again, probably 349 more new features out there to go check out with the spring update. But that's one we think is worth mentioning.
Do you think this is something that the customer can set up by themselves, or do they need an expert like us to do it?
No, customers should be able to do this on their own.
Oh, even better
for
you guys.
We're available to help, to assist, and walk through. There's set up wizards within Business Central. And how you authenticate and everything.
Right.
And there's plenty of videos online that walk through these types of things too, and online help. So
hey, integration is good. Kind of like integrating this beer with some peanuts maybe in our next podcast.
You know what? We do need snacks, don't we? Just beer?
That's all right. We'll learn as we go.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, this is our maiden voyage.
That's right.
So next month we'll be drinking something else.
Yeah.
And
you get to be in charge of the beer. I'll be in charge of the snacks.
There you go. Now we're talking.
That's right.
I'm in.
All right. So for one of our last 2 segments, we're going to talk about this week. It's going to be a couple of featured apps. We're going to talk about credit card processing apps and things like that. Mainly ChargeLogic, Century Business Solutions, and something that I'm not too familiar with called Microsoft Pay that my co-host just sprung on me now. So, Ken, why don't you tell us a little bit about
Sure.
Pick?
Yeah, so I guess the first point is, if you're running Business Central, the first thing to understand is, can you go in and record customer deposits and cash receipts? Yes, you can. Mm-hmm. More and more people today, right, use credit cards.
Yeah.
So how do I process a credit card? I'm taking an order, and the customer wants to pay for this on a credit card, or the customer owes me a bunch of money for some past due invoices, and I want to accept a credit card and pay with it.
Keep track of it, yeah.
So the standard Business Central software, when you install it, does not have that. So that's the first
there's no
point.
credit card processing out of the box.
Right. But there are apps available. So if you go to Appsource, you can do a search on credit card under Business Central, and you'll see that there are multiple solutions available. The first, and let's talk about the first, right, is Microsoft Pay. So that's an app, now, Microsoft Pay, it's a payment service hosted by Microsoft, and they handle multiple types of payments, including credit card, WePay, PayPal, and other sources. Right.
Nice.
So that's one solution that's out there. There are other partner solutions. One of which you mentioned, ChargeLogic. Right. So ChargeLogic has been around for a while. Their product is credit card, right? That's what they do. They live and breathe credit card processing. Yep. Right. They have a PCI compliant solution, and so on. But we don't. It's a great solution, but it's not the only one. There's also another solution out there. It's on Appsource. It's called NavX Credit Card. And so you say, well, okay, so we've got Microsoft Pay. Let's put that in a bucket's on its own, its own bucket. And then we've got these two different credit card processing ones that are out there. And granted,
different, but some similarities.
I apologize if there are other ones out there. And tomorrow there may be.
Right. I think that's something we should talk about. It's almost virtually impossible for your partner or a partner like us to know everything about every single app that is out there. I mean, we have the ability to talk to Microsoft and learn about it quicker than the end user does, but right off the bat, it's almost impossible for us to know every app that's out there.
It is, and Microsoft is adding new apps on a regular basis. I don't know what the schedule is, if it's daily, weekly, monthly, whatever. They're all I know is every time I go out there and I look for something, it seems like there's more out there. So I want to kind of talk about ChargeLogic and this NavX credit card, and how they're similar and how they're different. The first thing is how they're kind of similar is that they're both PCI validated or compliant solutions. You can accept credit cards through both of them. You can, take a credit card against an outstanding sales order, which then charges your card once you end up shipping it and invoicing the customer. And some reconciliation tools available. The ChargeLogic solution, they are their own processor. So when you sign up for ChargeLogic is your credit card processor.
You have to use them.
Right. Okay. So, the benefits of that is that it's simple, it's easy, right? And similarly, the NavX credit card solution uses a long-established company, Century Business Solutions, as their processor. And again, you don't have a choice. You utilize the processor associated with that each app.
Yeah.
But that makes it simple. You may not be able to use your current processor anymore, but there's a lot of difficulty associated with integrating your ERP software, your processor, and your bank.
Right. It also, so from what I'm gathering, it's helping you save a little bit of upfront costs as well.
For sure. The fees, the monthly fees to utilize these applications are really, really affordable. Yeah. So price really shouldn't be an issue if you need to take credit cards within the software. The rates are pretty competitive from what I understand with what you may be paying now if you have a credit card processor and you tell me, well, we've got these negotiated rates and this is what we're paying. The rates are pretty competitive. So, in my opinion, even if those rates are slightly higher, you're getting a fully integrated software system elimination of duplicate entry. It's secure. The data's encrypted.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about a lot of different other systems or manual systems.
Right.
You've got fraud.
Yeah. And those are all things that cost you a lot of money.
Liabilities, audit exposure.
Yep.
There's a lot of risk out there. So we think these are both good solutions that are out there. And they also both offer a payment portal. So what you can do is you can direct your customer to a payment portal. You put a link on the invoice that you email to the customer.
A PDF, right?
They can click on the link, and it takes them to a secure payment portal where they can actually enter their own credit card information and pay that invoice.
Nice. And I believe they can see multiple invoices, right? Not just the one, right?
Right. Sure.
Yeah. So in the payment portal, it's specific to them, so they're allowed to see different invoices past due and whatnot.
Yeah. So today we just want to talk about credit card processing. Again, one, not included, right? So you need an app for it, and then these are some of the apps that we use.
Yeah.
And we've had success with.
Yep.
And we would recommend.
Yep, definitely. Implemented and supported both of them. Help support both of them. Go with it. All right, so that brings us almost to the end of the podcast. We talked a lot about good things today. A couple good apps, credit card apps. We talked about some wonderful beers, some Business Central features that are coming out, and I gotta say, Ken, really good choice in Zombie Does Beer. Really good choice.
Thank you.
It's very good.
Like I said, we got to set the bar.
Yeah.
The bar's set. I'm not afraid to go over the bar if we can find a way to get over the bar. But next time we meet, we're going to be drinking something else.
Yeah, we'll see what's out there and what works well.
About that, yeah.
I want to give a quick shout out to a buddy of mine who actually bought me my first beer when I was 21. His name is Dan Lepresti. So, thank you, my friend, for introducing me to some beer back then.
Do you remember what kind of beer it was?
I do not, to be honest with you. But back then it was probably
Miller
Lite or something like that. Yeah, no craft beers really back then in bars. They weren't too popular.
It was Miller Lite or Coors Light or Bud Light.
Yeah, one of them. Yeah,
something along those lines.
I wish I did remember, to be honest with you, but I do not. Do you remember your first beer beer that somebody bought for you?
The first beer that somebody bought for me.
Because I don't remember the first beer I ever had.
I'm going to, whether or not this is the truth, the one that comes to my mind is a friend of my older brother, Rich. His name was... I won't give his name because I was underage at the time. But went out and did us a solid and got us a case of Old Style.
That's definitely
right.
It's definitely old school right there. That's a hard beer to start out with.
Right? Yeah. So I remember I distinctly, and it wasn't like today's a case of beer today comes in like a cardboard box.
Yeah.
This was like the a corrugated like base.
Oh, was it?
You know what I'm saying? With 4 6-packs that were connected.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they were in here. Okay.
It was just a corrugated half box.
That's awesome.
Picture like a half a box. Just the base of it.
Right.
With the 24 beers in it. Not even like a regular case like you'd see today.
Styles.
Yeah, Old Style.
When was the last time you had Old Style? Oh yeah, I couldn't tell you either.
I would bet it would have had to been a Cubs game.
Yeah.
Probably around 10 years ago.
Yeah. I'm probably around the same for me for Old Style.
Yeah.
Not a beer choice.
No.
Not something I'm ordering when I'm going somewhere.
No, not for me either. But I'm looking forward to I've had a great time. This has been fun.
Yeah. Many more to come.
I am looking forward to our next meeting.
Yep.
The beer, the snacks,
yeah, it's gonna be good.
And a shot of Business Central.
Agreed. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We truly appreciate it. As always, if you have any questions or whatnot about ERP, CRM, give us a call at 847-590-3000 or email us at info@solstice.com. When this is posted, we will put show notes, which will have links to some of the things that we talked about today. So have a good one, everyone.